We're about 2.5 hours outside of Las Vegas. Gonna be here for 3 days, 2 nights. It's about a 17-ish mile loop. We're gonna go in here the first day. We got a pretty decent 2,800 feet elevation gain. Day 1, camp. Day 2 is across the whole ridge of this mountain range here, and then day 3 is back, loop around back to the car. So we're about 150, 170 miles outside of Las Vegas. We're in Utah. I don't know if I said that. We're in Utah. Utah. Sorry, it's
Pine Valley,
been a Sunday morning. Got a couple days off from work, and worked last night. Left the bar a little early, but it's still
a little hazy,
a little fuzzy. So we're sitting here at the trailhead, and just gonna walk down here and take a look at some of this water. And from what we were told at the check-in, we're still gonna have snow at on day 2. We're gonna get to around just over 10,000 feet elevation is our high point. So, you know, this is awesome. This is why I like coming out here and doing this. I mean, 2-hour drive from Las Vegas, you know, less than 2 hours, and we're gonna get this. We're gonna walk back here to the Jeep, throw packs on, lock up the car, and we're gonna get this trip started. So here we are at the start of the trailhead. We've got 6 miles to Whipple Valley, and that's where we should spend night 1. So we'll, Edith is already getting moving. It's not too crazy in the afternoon. It's probably somewhere around 1 o'clock. We got not a late start leaving Las Vegas, but we do change time zones here, so we lost an hour from our drive-in from Las Vegas. So parking lot down there. We'll see you in a couple of days. Edith is rocking a Kelty tent and my old Teton bag. I've got my chameleon hammock and my Dyneema tarp, and this is my second trip with this Gregory optic pack. So far so good, but I've only done about 6 miles with this bag total, so we'll see how this bag rides today. This is going to start out with, from what I was told, some gnarly switchbacks right out the gate. So we'll see how this goes. We saw some people in the parking lot that just were up here for a day hike. So there was a lot of down trees and stuff, so we'll see. But we'll take our time, and we're really in no rush. We got plenty of daylight yet. We've got 8:30 till it gets dark, so I think we're in good shape. We are second week of June. Today's high is about 75 degrees. Tonight's the coldest night, somewhere in the upper 40s. Tomorrow should be around 80, 53 at night, and then 80 on Tuesday on our way out. So we made it to the first intersection here. We're Now we're gonna cross over into the Pine Valley Mountain Wilderness area, which is part of Dixie National Forest. So there's a couple offshoot trails here, but I checked my GPS, and we're gonna go up this way. And this is the section we got a bunch of gnarly switchbacks that we're about to tackle. So hopefully this is most of the elevation gain for the day is in this next, say, 1.5 miles. So
The dude carrying the baby.
yeah, I mean, it's this Sunday afternoon. The first part of this is pretty common with some day hikers. Once we get to the top of this trail, most people do this as an out and back, or an in and out, and I found a way to do a loop. So hopefully tomorrow we won't see any people. Got our first section of switchbacks here. Overall, absolute gorgeous day. Can't beat the weather. Little 360. Just came up that. I don't know if this is going to come up on the GoPro, but we're going to that's tomorrow. We're going to walk that whole ridge line tomorrow. So, still got some snow up there. Hopefully we can get through, because neither of us have micro spikes, crampons, or anything like that. So we'll see what happens at the end of today when we get up there. It's been in the 70s here this whole past week, so we should have had some decent snow melt. But just in general for us out here in this region, we had a really crazy spring. I mean, we were in the 70s even back in Las Vegas just like 10 days ago. It's been a really mild spring. We've only hit 100 a couple days so far. So far the trail's pretty decent. Not very well marked. We're only maybe half mile, quarter mile in. I had to reference the GPS just to make sure that we stay on trail, because there's a whole bunch of little offshoot trails here. But so far so good. A little rocky for all my back east friends that do Pennsylvania and the AT there, also known as Rocksylvania. It's not quite that bad, but it's pretty rocky terrain. Not quite sure how this is going to show up, but we made it to the top of like our, I don't know, 10th switchback, and here's a awesome view of this little town of Pine Valley. We also have to drive through this little town to get to the recreational area, and that's where all the trailheads are for the jumping off spot for this Pine Valley Wilderness area. But you can still see on the other side of that tree off to the right, we're going to hike this whole ridgeline tomorrow, hopefully. We'll see what kind of snow we see when we get up here, and we'll go from there. But hopefully day one's the top of this. Day two's about 8 miles across this ridgeline, and then back down the other side that you see there in the distance. So far so good, not too bad. Just plugging along.
See how big some of the black ants are getting?
Yeah, like monsters. It's like T-Rex style.
Yeah.
I hope not. That's why I sleep in the trees.
Yeah, but I'm on the ground.
Well,
My insulator's gonna be in the river.
hopefully I wake up tomorrow and you're still there. Somebody's having fun down there.
What if the snow melted and it flooded my tunnel?
Yeah, right. So speaking of snow melt, you can see in the back of our packs we're both carrying in 3 liters of water. From all the research I've done on this loop, which there wasn't much, is that all the water sources here rely on snow melt. So without trying to take a chance, we both got 3 liters of water on us. That's a terrible sound. That means we still have cell phone reception. Whole idea to get out here is to not have that, but oh well. So with the said 3 liters of water, along with our food, I came in at 18 pounds with everything. So I don't ever claim to be an ultralight guy, but sort of pay attention to what you're carrying. But this is awesome views along here. I'm gonna do a little 360. You can hear the water behind us. So there is I forget the name of the river that runs through here, but it's not really a river. Like I said, the information on this area was kind of poor. This is all snow melt. So we'll see what kind of water we have once we get up here, and we'll go from there. But yeah, water, food, camera gear. I'm coming in right around 18 pounds. So, man, this is a great view. Oh yeah. It's a pretty good view. Just stop, get you out of that sun. Just stop for a second and made an adjustment on Edith's pack, but we're about a mile and a half in. Still tackling this gnarly 2,800 feet of elevation gain. Switchback, 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 switchback. But so far it's been, just killer views. You just got awesome views of Pine Valley down here. Right now we're around 7,200 feet. And we got about 4.5 miles to go, ish. So we've been on the trail for exactly an hour. So this 1.5 mile per hour for a couple old out of shape guys. These switchbacks are a little brutal, but that just makes lounging at camp tonight, all that more rewarding. About 2.5 miles in, we just stopped and took the packs off for a second, regroup, grab snacks, and we were checking my GPS looking for this water source that I had tagged, and came around the corner here and we see the water source, so that's a good idea. Fill up with some water, go hydrate. So we're gonna definitely take advantage of this water here and gonna fill up. Looks like this water runs right through the trail. Nice. So we've made it through a lot of the switchbacks and we're making our final little approach to Whipple Valley. And I mean, it's crazy how landscape changes. Came that direction and we actually lost the trail for a little bit and had to cut through some snow fields and took a look at the GPS and figured out we were off trail a little bit. But the only two people we've seen the entire day told us that they lost the trail for a little bit as well. And tomorrow is gonna be a really difficult day because apparently Summit Trail is completely still covered in snow. So we've come up to this water crossing here at the cuts across the trail. So I'm gonna put the camera away here for a second and we're gonna tackle this water crossing and we'll bring you guys back when we get to the next side. Well, after that water crossing we had 2 more. So put the camera away for a minute. Now we're walking back up along the edge of this. I think I didn't look at my GPS. We saw a little bit of elevation gain to go. I don't know what these little like low bushes are, but vegetation's definitely changed. You can tell this probably gets insanely overgrown in summer. Oh, watch, those are big ass thorns on that one. Something that I'm just used to from, all my hiking as a kid was based on the East Coast. As I grew up in Pennsylvania, a lot of AT stuff and, White Mountains, Adirondacks, that kind of stuff. But back home, all the trails are at least blazed. Since I moved out west, there's no blazes on these trails. So sometimes it's a little difficult to follow where you're going. Like right now, I don't know if we go down, we stay across. I feel like we need to get around. No, we're gonna go on the edge of this. Might have to put the camera away again and reference the GPS, because just like that, the trail disappears. I really don't think we have a descent. We have to get around the corner of this point here and start heading back south. But you can be on a really well sort of obvious groomed trail and then in 2 seconds it's gone. I don't know. I'm just still trying to figure out where we're supposed to be. So, the gimbal battery's dead. My GoPro's flashing at me. We made it to camp. We had to deviate a little bit from our original plan, just due to losing the trail, like I mentioned before, when we there's no blazes, so you're looking at the trail, and next thing you know, you just lose it. So we got about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards off trail. We decided we found a spot up on top of this ridge, and got camp going. There's Edith's tent. There's the hammock all set up. I'm sure this light sucks, and the battery in my gimbal died, so I'm sure this camera footage is super shaky. Try to keep it as still as I can and keep this as short as I can. But here's a little quick, got a nice little fire going over here. So we will we'll come back in the morning. So morning number 2. Sort of just woke up, got some coffee going, got some breakfast going. We're gonna take a look at the GPS and take a look at the map, and maybe taking a judgment call from yesterday's experience and running into those 2 guys that said that Summit Trail is still completely snow-packed, and it's extremely difficult to lose the trail. And we actually lost Whipple Trail on the way in yesterday, and we're probably, from looking at the GPS, we're probably a good 100 to 200 yards off the trail up on top of this little kind of false ridge. But slept last night, wasn't too bad. Last night's low was somewhere in the upper 40s. Probably should have put the tarp up just to help with the wind, but I really wanted to see the stars and stuff last night, so I decided to go tarpless, and maybe paid the price for that with a little bit of wind. Wasn't super bad, but got cold around 3:30, 4 a.m. That Spark top quilt from Eno didn't do too bad. I know it's a budget top quilt. It's not the best on the market, but I'm actually kind of impressed. For a $100 top quilt, it performed pretty well. I threw some tights on, and I was comfortable. My under quilt's rated to 40, and that top quilt's also rated to 40, but it's synthetic fill, and didn't do too bad. I was kind of impressed. So we're gonna have some breakfast, have some coffee, and we might just go back the way we came, and then maybe try to find a spot a little bit closer to heading our way out. We're about 4 miles in at this point right now, so we'll come back after we have some breakfast. So brought you guys back after we decided to head back down Whipple instead of coming back Summit. That's still all snow-packed. And as we made our way back down from where we camped last night, we were able to link up with the trail that we missed yesterday. So when you're going up Whipple, there is an extreme sharp right switchback that continues on the trail, and as we were going up, we followed a game trail and just missed the switchback completely. And that's how we got about, I'd say half mile off trail, and it never made it to our destination last night that we intended to, which was we were going to try to camp in Whipple Valley. We were running out of daylight, and we just had to make a judgment call, and we just set up camp kind of up on top of this false ridge. It was nice. We had a great view of Whipple Valley, and it was a nice place. It wasn't too bad. As I mentioned before, man, bugs are terrible. As I mentioned before, I did not put my tarp up. I may have paid the price for that because the wind last night kind of kicked up to about 15-20 miles an hour. So, is what it is. But now we're on our way back down Whipple, and we're gonna camp tonight yet, just off of Whipple, and then we'll only have a couple miles tomorrow back to the Jeep, and then our 2.5 hour drive home. So coming down here, and we should be coming up on one of these water crossings that's up here. Got about 4 or 5 to do. I can hear it, it's getting louder, so shouldn't be too much farther. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up camp here either before or after this water crossing. Some snow still. Yeah, here we go. I'll turn you guys around in a second. Here's this water crossing that we've got. Duck under that. Wasn't too bad. So we're gonna poke around and look for camp here somewhere soon. Here's where we decided to set up camp tonight. We're sort of tucked in here. Found ourselves a spot back here, enough where Edith's tent would fit. I don't know if you guys can hear the water, but we're pretty close to this water. And then spot for my hammock to go up. I don't know if we're gonna get the winds like we did last night, so just in case, I got my tarp above me. In case it gets windy tonight, I can throw that on real quick. And I still have to throw on my underquilt. So, gonna hang out here for a little bit, get some dinner going, and then call it a night. Nice little spot next to this water here, so plenty of water. So, back here at camp, got a spot for the night. We're getting ourselves situated somewhere, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. So we got a nice little fire over here. We'll get dinner going here in a moment, and yeah, sort of just hang out at camp the rest of the night. Not really a whole ton going on. Hammock's up, quilt's up. Need to get my other sleeping bag. I gotta get my top quilt out yet, but not a bad little spot here. From what I guess, we've got probably about 2.5 miles back to the car. So just broke camp, threw down some coffee, some quick breakfast, and now we're back on the trail. So have next to no battery life left and everything, so I'm not sure how much we're gonna be able to film on the way out, but it's probably somewhere a little after 7 in the morning. And got cold last night. Wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a little chilly last night. We've got a couple water crossings coming up, and then a whole bunch of gnarly switchbacks on the way down. So we'll see what that looks like. Got to our first nice overlook on the way back. This tree's in the way here to the right, but right over that tree there is a ton of Pine Valley. No way this is going to come across on camera, but and then
we only like to do all the switchbacks twice.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't finish our 17 miles. We're gonna get it done in one day, just going back and
forth.
Let's get it.
So we made it down all the switchbacks, and we're almost back at the car. And just wanted to point this out. Wanted to take a picture of it. Nothing against Pine Valley Mountain Wilderness area and the Dixie National Forest, but this is the only sign of the entire trip. We, man, it's a good fun 3 days, but 0 blazes, 0 signs the entire trip. So, you know, you guys have already seen the video. You got the whole story. Come back. I would come back and do it again, but yeah, it's really bizarre. My first backpacking trip experience in Utah, you know, left something to be desired. It's just never been on a trail before where there was 0 signage, 0 trail markers, 0 blazes, nothing. 1 sign. We're standing in front of it. Oh well. Till next time. See ya.
He's like 60 feet up on the right hand side.
Did it go up or down?
He went.
All right, let me get in front of you.
You see where the bend is?
Yeah.
He just crossed right in front of that bend, just past that swamp.
Possibly have our first animal sighting of the trip, and we're at the end in the parking lot. So we were walking out, deer ran in front of us. Right there it is, through the trees right there. I don't know if that's gonna come up on camera, but he's right up above me through the trees. You see it? He's going your way. He's going back around. That's gonna be hard to come up on camera. But there's our first large animal sighting of the entire trip for 3 days. And right here's the cars and the parking lot.
Which is quite interesting.
So yeah, we were 5 miles in, you know, just under 9,000 feet of elevation, and didn't see a thing except for a couple rabbits, some lizards on the way up, and then we get a deer in the parking lot. But there you go. This is gonna wrap up the 3-day, 2-night hammock backpacking trip to Pine Valley Mountain Wilderness area in the Dixie National Forest, just above of St. George, Utah. Now it's lunchtime.